Hello and welcome to the midweek preview show. David Shortte and Troy Iwanyk with you. How's the week going, Troy?
Yeah, very well, Shorty, very well. Nationals coming up, so getting excited about that, but a big week of chasing here in WA prior to that.
It certainly is. Let's have a look at some of the feature races kicking off Friday night down there at Mandurah. We've got 3 heats of the Kanyana Cup for the provincial grade 5 performers over the 488 metres. We'll go through heat by heat. The first of them, first leg of the quaddie in 1 Sparkling Gem, 2 Absolute Mayhem, 3 Brookman Ranger, 4 Billy Me Goat, 6 Sunset Augustus, 7 Jaffers Manelli, and out in 8 is Unleash Me. Very keen on the prospects of number 6 Sunset Augustus here, Troy. It's won its last 3 in impressive fashion. Looks the one to beat. Respect for number 1 Sparkling Gem for Jamie Marsh, who's been racing well in town. Comes up with a nice draw. And 4 Billy Me Goats run some nice races there at Mandurah. 6, 1 and 4 for me in the first leg of the Kanyana Cup.
Yeah, very similar, Shorty. Sunset Augustus for me looks very tough to beat on that form, but Sparkling Gem off the red, I think you've got to keep it very safe. It looks a real chance there from that draw. And the other one I just wanted to give a quick shout out to was Unleash Me off the pink. I just thought it was just one we need to keep safe. Just watch the market and keep it a little bit safe.
On to race number 6, the second of the Kanyana Cup heats, and a really good race here, pretty deep, well, probably one of the deeper heats. Number 1 Foot Falcon for Jay Jacobson's run some really slick times of late, particularly there at Northam. I like it when dogs have a bit of a change up within their training regime. Often they really spike off a couple of runs at Northam, so that's exactly what Jay's looking to do here with Foot Falcon. 2 wins in the 29.4 range let us know that the dog's going really well. 7 Choosing Texas, very consistent. Greyhound for Steve Withers, absolutely a threat. And then the likes of Rambo Shout, who'll be big odds, but a veteran that's run a lot of great races here over this distance. 3 Cypher Manelli has been placed 3 of its last 4, has to be included in novelties. And also Great Chat for Lewis Clay is an interesting runner. But I thought 1 Foot Falcon, recent form, Northern, really good. 7 Choosing Texas looked the key couple, but throwing in 2, 3 and 4 for novelties. How did you see the second Kanyana Cup heat?
Yeah, we were on the same playing field here, I think, Shorty. Very similar. I thought the red Foot Falcon was very well suited off the red, and as you've mentioned, that great Northern form that it's got at the moment, going terrific. So it looks a little bit of a value off the inside there. Choosing Texas was my on topper. Hard to beat if it does get across. It can run time, can show early pace. The 488 at Mandurah might just suit to get around and be off and gone. And Great Chat, New South Wales runner, can run 500 and looks like it can run reasonably well. So it could be a big danger here with the right run early. So I think watch the market for that one, because if it starts coming in on the market, maybe it's trialled well or done something well as well. But prior form that I could look at looked really nice. So keep it very, very safe.
All right, and the third of the Kanyana Cup heats on Friday night. We're going to go to a replay here, and it is last Wednesday night's feature race at Cannington. It was the Kanyana Trophy final. We're watching Gideon Manelli off box number 1, who shows really good pace. Sits third early, but just that draw advantage, and clever enough to just keep booting up hard on the fence. And by the time they got to that first corner at Laird, it was game, set and match early doors. This greyhound's an absolute beast when it gets the arm to itself. Goes on to absolutely smash what was a high quality lineup. 549, 1373, 29 and 35 overall there in town. It's absolutely humming. I will say though, it has to move from that box number 1 out to box number 7, and it comes up against a very, very talented chaser drawn in box number 3, Kanya Caviar for Sean Kavanagh, who Troy tipped out a couple of weeks ago here on this program. Last time at Mandurah over the 488, this dog recorded a absolutely scintillating 27 and 12. Now, as talented as what Gideon Manelli is, it wouldn't want to be doing too much wrong from box number 7 and finding a check or two if Kanya Caviar gets a look at the arm and runs around that 27.10 to 27.20 range. It doesn't leave much room for mistakes for opposition when you've got a greyhound of that calibre in the heat.
Yeah, one of the races of the week for me, Shorty. I love this matchup between Kanya Caviar and Gideon Manelli. Viewers of the show will know I love Gideon Manelli. I'm a big fan of the dog, and what he did in that replay shows just how good the dog is and the time he ran. But something that we've always spoken about is he's that little bit risky early. He's not Mr. Consistent out the boxes. He's not blistering, and the wide draw here could be a little bit of an issue. He's good enough to overcome it, but it does worry me a little bit. Meanwhile, you got Kanya Caviar, who can show pace, can run time, and has done it recently, and is in great form at the moment. Even coming coming from behind in that last win at Cannington. Very hard not to want to put Kenya Caviar on top, but with full respect for Gideon, which sounds strange to tip against Gideon in the way this greyhound's running. But one of the races of the week for me, I cannot wait to watch this race because these are two young stars on the rise, and I'd love to see them both get through the final and see what they do in the final as well.
Indeed, and we sort of talked about it there watching that Kanyana Trophy final replay, how so often draws can be massive in greyhound racing, and in that final, Gideon Manelli having drawn the inside and just scraping paint, that was the key, being drawn down where it needed to be without having to do work. Just in this race, potentially from box number 7, it might have to work a little bit, and that, you know, can take a bit of juice out of the tank. It can also cop a bump or two, which can take a length or two off your time. And if Kenya Caviar is highballing up front running time, it may prove really hard to beat, but you'd love to be taking either of those two canines home. They both look to have very bright futures. There we have it. Friday night at Mandurah, 3 heats of the Kanyana Cup. There'll be some very smart chasers get through to that final, and we'll be talking about that right here on this preview show next Wednesday. Let's switch our focus now to Saturday night at headquarters, and while there's no feature series on Saturday night, we do have some excellent racing over all 3 distances on the night, the 520, the 600 and also the 700 metres. We're going to start with race number 2, the grade 5 over the 715 metres. All about Colin 1, Western Menace 2, Black Tiger 3, Benali 4, Take My Advice in 5, Cashing Out in 6, Western Sydney in 7, Our Girl Jess in box number 8. Let's go back to the replay of Western Sydney last week over the 600 metres. In this particular race, it draws box number 3. It's slow out of the boxes, flops across to the rail in the early stages. Has to come from 7th in the early stages, but is a very, very clever dog. Just sits on that fence and just keeps burrowing up. Before you know it, we're getting towards the back straight, and that is where we see Western Sydney continue to burrow up, barge to the top, and good night, Dolly. Away Western Sydney goes from that point onwards and absolutely smashes them over the concluding stages, which is really important, stepping up to the 715 metres here. 977, 1836, 2316, 34 and 61. Really nice performance from Western Sydney. Graham that's always shown exceptional ability levels, not always great out of the boxes, which can be a great hindrance, particularly when you're going round over sprint distances. But now we see Western Sydney getting up to a distance range where I think most fans have thought that this dog would probably show its very best form. It looks to be very hard to beat. Also, Take My Advice has been running really well for Ad Smithson. Looks a great rover through the race. 2, Western Menace. It's the frame plenty of times over these longer trips. And 8, Our Girl Jess. But I thought number 7 on that run last week, Troy would take a power beating here in the grade 5 over the 715 metres.
Yeah, I think viewers probably are sick and tired of hearing me say in the past, I can't wait for Western Sydney to get to 700. I spoke about this time and time again and was so excited about when the dog was going to step up. And when I saw the fields here, Shorty, come out, I can't lie, I was a little bit giggling like a kid at Christmas. So I was like, cannot wait to see what this dog does over 700. So excited for this, like many people will be. His run last week just sets him up beautifully for this race. Is a draw perfect? No. Is the race perfect for him? No. But the distance looks ideal if he can just run that extra little trip, and we never know until they do it. But he just looks made for this trip, and in this race, if he gets any luck at all, I think he's going to be very, very tough to beat. Now, in saying that, I think Take My Advice could be the leader here. Cashing Out, capable greyhound, but it's got to begin well. It needs to be near the lead here for mine. And Our Girl Jess, another one who's proven over the trip, but also needs clear running early to put itself in the race. So taking all that aside, Western Sydney on top for me, and I cannot wait for this race. I'm so excited to see what this dog does.
Yeah, definitely. And look, you're going to see something similar to last week again. You'd expect the dog will flop out. It hasn't got that early pace, but as long as it can get across to the rails without doing too much damage, You can just see Western Sydney, similar to the replay that we just saw over the 600, get down to the fence. As a few runners roll off, it'll just keep sneaking up along the rails and get a nice trail into the race. As long as the doors open at the right time, you think Western Sydney will be really smashing the line late. The other dog I want to be throwing in for trifectas and first fours is number 3, Black Tiger. Been racing pretty well for Cosy D'Agostino and hitting the frame at some big prices in recent weeks. May well be able to sneak into third or fourth and help jack up trifectas and first fours. But certainly Western Sydney will be one of the highlight runners on Saturday night.
The only thing I'll say with Sydney is you just want to maintain his momentum in the run. Like, as long as he's not blocked early or checked severely, if he can just maintain his momentum, I think we're going to see something really nice.
Indeed. We move on to the free-for-all race number 4, the Sires on Ice free-for-all over the 520 metres. Garrity in 1, Fleetwood Kazakh 2, Vacant in 3, Sunset Caligula in 4, Iconic Guess in 5, Vacant in 6, Just a Piastri in 7, and Unchecked out in box number 8. Troy, this is a really high-quality free-for-all event, but I thought you could make a case for most here. Iconic Guess is the dog that has won the most of these sort of top-grade races in recent times. From box number 5, though, just needs to nail that start. I thought that Garrity's the dog we threw out last week that you wanted to be throwing in and roving for trifectas first fours. It did its job for us last week at big odds and helped to jack up trifectas and first fours. It can hit the frame again here in this small field. Unchecked was a good winner last week for Chris House. Runs into a hot line up here. Just the Piastri's won 2 of its last 3. As you'd expect when it's a free-for-all, you're getting the high-quality performers. And for me, I thought this was one of the more open races of the evening. Iconic Guess will likely be fairly popular with the punters given that winning history, but if it does it slightly wrong, things can open up pretty quickly here.
Yeah, it's such a tough race to pick. I looked at this race for far longer than I should have, trying to work out how it was going to pan out, and I ended up, my notes were just tough race, very even. I couldn't even decipher. I think everything in this race is nearly a winning chance. I do have a leaning towards boxes 4, 5, 7 and 8. I think Sunset Caligula, a very smart greyhound on the rise that can show pace, and if it finds the arm, can run good time. I kind of guess has been doing it all and finding ways to win. Just cannot go past him on what he's been doing recent. Just Piastri, forget last run. Recent form prior to that has been exceptional, and with a vacant box inside and early pace, it could also challenge for the lead here. And Unchecked, I don't think box 8 is going to be a problem for it. So another greyhound on the rise, and could be one that could really surprise here as well. And then I don't want to take anything away from Garrity and Fleetwood Kazakh because they're both very capable on the inside. So as I've said many times on this show, if you like something, have a play, because there's probably going to be value in this race somewhere around.
Yeah, only the 6 runners, but as we touched on, you can make a case for most. It's going to be one of the highlight races on the program, and we'll round it out. Race number 7. This is a free-for-all over the 601 metres. We're going to go back to the replay last week here of Aston Ruler, who went round in a really strong 520 metre grade 5 event, drawn box number 3. And you can see here in the early stages, Aston Ruler shows excellent early zoom, shoots across and rolls to the top. And from that point onwards, despite some really nice dogs being on the hammer of Aston Ruler, they never really look like running down this canine, who's run some excellent races over the middle distance trip. So here you can see dogs trying hard in reverse, but it's all about Aston Ruler, who goes on to record a strong win, 549, 1386, 1853, 29 and 92 overall. Up to the 601 metres here, where it's run 7 of 14. So it's a real pet distance for Aston Ruler. Runs into Western Model in 1, Shadow Reaper in 2, Just a Princess in 4, and out in box number 8 is Fast Bite. For me, sticking with Aston Ruler, dog I've always had a lot of time for, particularly over this middle distance trip. I think it'll be tough to beat here. From 1, Western Model from the draw, certainly capable of giving plenty of cheek. 4, Just a Princess, racing incredibly consistently, and number 2, Shadow Reaper, has also run really well of late. Again, it's a race where there's a lot of quality despite the small number of runners in this field, but Aston Ruler for me, if it can begin like it did last week over 500, here over 6, I think it can zoom over and from there be very hard to run down.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way here, Shorty. That 7 wins from 14 starts over the trip for Aston Ruler really caught my eye. And the recent form of the Greyhound, it's in form, it's just flying at the moment. Small field should suit it, and I just think the trip is ideal. So very hard to go past it, but it is such a tough race. West On Model is going to get every chance from the red here. If it jumps well and puts itself in the race early, it is going to be every single chance of taking this race out. Shadow Reaper just didn't begin last week over the 700 and found too much trouble after that. Prior form had been good, and I think forget last week's run. If the Greyhound jumps this week, it can put itself on near the arm or on the arm, and that could be a different story. And Just a Princess, again, form's hard to fault. It's in great form at the moment, so you can't go past its form, and it's strong. So if it's sitting anywhere near the rest of the leaders here in a small field, it's going to get a chance to strike. So those 4, very hard to separate for mine, but Aston Ruler on that strike rate over this trip, very hard to go past as well.
Indeed. So there we have it. Saturday night chasing should be a great program. The other real interesting point late in the program here, race number 10, in fact, the last race on the card, is a Masters race, and Iwanyk Jet, who's been one of our top line sprinters for a long period of time, now drops right back, gets to an age where it's eligible for these Masters races. So we've seen Timmy Tesla going really well in these Masters events in recent times. We saw Bezecchi scratched out of one of these recent weeks. But with the likes of Timmy Tesla, Bezecchi, and now Iwanyk Jet joining these Masters style races, we could have some excellent showdowns in the upcoming weeks from some dogs that have been at that real top level, now getting into the veteran category, but racing really well. So it'll be something really special to round out the card there on Saturday night. One of our top sprinters going around in a Masters event. Rounded out with a look at our key plays Wednesday night here at Cannington. Troy, what have you come up with for the punters?
Yeah, just thinking though, Shorty, that Masters race, imagine rocking up and having Bezecchi and Iwanyk Jet and that in a race, and you think, I'm in a Masters race, life should get a bit easier for me now. And then you hear that. Not ideal if you're a greyhound, but geez, it just shows that there's options for dogs all the way through their careers. 2 tips for me tonight. Race 1, number 1, Axioms. Greyhound from Victoria, recent form not been that great. Prior, it had won 5 of 10 on its form and hasn't won in the last 5 starts. So if we go back to its last win, it was at Warrnambool, 25-37. That's not a bad run, but it showed pace as well. So the Greyhound clearly has ability. I think maybe the freshen up over here now in WA could just be what it needs. And off the red, early race, hard to go past for mine. I think it's going to be one to really follow. Watch the market, because the market's on. We know it's doing something good. And then race 4, number 8, Scratch Daddy. I like this dog from the pink. Has early pace. Comes to Cannington for the first time. I don't think it's going to worry it too much. But that early pace is really key here. Cider in the 7's a wide runner. It will want to get up the track a little bit, but I think Scratch Daddy can get past it early with that early pace. And if it's in front of Cider, that shouldn't be a problem. And I really think in this race, we're going to get some value for it, or we should get some value for it from what I saw early. And it could be the one that really helps kick us along for the night. So race 1, number 1, Axioms. Race 4, number 8, Scratch Daddy.
Alrighty, I'm going to head to race 3 on the card. Number 8, Tide is High, as my play, just under the $4 mark there. A greyhound that's won 2 of its last 3 starts from wide draws. It's got good early pace with a slow beginner drawn on its inside. Lightning Dash, who I think is the danger in the race. It will get back but be charging home. It's been running over longer distances. But I thought the Tide is High, given that early pace, given that it's got room to zoom early, could get across the face of the field, lead them up, and from there be pretty hard to run down. So a race 3, number 8, Tide is High on top. That's us done and dusted for this week. If you're yet to make plans for the weekend, get in contact with the team at Greyhounds WA. Of course, we've got the Box 1 restaurant in operation every Wednesday and Saturday night here at Cannington, as well as down there at Greyhounds WA Mandurah on a Thursday and Friday night. Get in contact with the team and they'll show you a great time. That's us done and dusted. Make sure you tune in again this time next Wednesday for the midweek racing preview.